Today it is Tuesday, 21st July 2020. And last time we had studied different things about consumer equilibrium when price of the product changes and how to derive the demand curve for the consumer. All right. Now, we also derived income consumption curve of the consumer when his income is going to change. And what is price consumption curve? PCC and YCC, all they were in ICC, they were derived from the consumer equilibrium approach of indifference curve and budget line. And today we are going to see if price of a normal good is going to change, like if price of X commodity is going to fall, how will the consumer change his consumption? His total effect of the fall in price of X will be divided into two effects. One is called the substitution effect, another is called the income effect. What we said about substitution effect? Substitution means when he is substituting one commodity with another. Like if price of X has decreased, he is going to buy or she is going to buy more of X. Therefore, he is substituting Y with X, as we see X has become relatively cheaper than commodity Y. So that's why he is substituting commodity Y with X. This is called the substitution of the fall in the price of commodity X. So can I say substitution effect can be analyzed when consumer is moving along his indifference curve. The movement along the same indifference curve will show us the substitution effect. If consumer stays on his same indifference curve at new price level, how many units of Y he or she is going to decrease in order to buy more of X. So that effect will be called substitution effect of the fall in price when we see the movement along the same indifference curve. Okay. Now what will be the income effect? Now keep it in mind, the nominal income of the consumer is not going to change. Whatever the income he is having in his pocket, that remains same. Now due to fall in price of X, his real income, that is going to change. When price of X decreases, his real affordability will increase. In real terms, he or she will be able to buy more of X. So when he increases the consumption of a commodity where price has gone down due to increase in the real income of the consumer, so we say this is called the income effect, and this can be represented by the shift of the indifference curve from one budget line to another. So that is called the shift of the indifference curve from one budget line to another is called the income effect, and it starts from the end of the substitution effect to the final consumption of the consumer at new budget line at new indifference curve. So we say the total effect of the price change can be divided into two effects. One is called price substitution effect, and another is called income effect. So these two effects we are going to study today, how they can be analyzed by using indifference curve and budget line approach. The normal good is that which has positive income relationship with its demand. So when income increases in real terms and consumer is buying more of that commodity, so that thing is called a normal good. And normal good is having negative relationship with the price of the commodity. When price falls, he is going to buy more of this commodity. So we say the normal good is that in which the demand curve is downward sloping and at the same time it has positive income relationship. As his income increases, he is going to buy more of a good. So first of all, I am going to analyze price effect of a normal good. There can be the other goods like given good and inferior goods. Will be analyzing their substitution and income effect later on, but today I will only be focusing on the normal good. Okay. Recall your concept of consumer equilibrium, where consumer is having the equilibrium point. So this is his budget line that shows affordability within given income and the prices of the two goods. So all the bundles along this budget line, they are equally affordable by the consumer. This is the mean. Now, where will be the consumer optimum point of consumption or equilibrium point of consumption? That will be achieved where this budget line is making a tangency condition with the highest attainable indifference curve. I said there can be the map of indifference curves which is available to the consumer. So what indifference curve will be achieved by this budget line of the consumer, because he cannot go beyond this affordability. If indifference curve is lying here and his income is here, the consumer cannot have equilibrium along this indifference curve because it is far behind, far away from his affordability. So his budget line, if it is making a tangency condition with the highest attainable indifference curve, this is, I say, this is the commodity X. He was consuming 3 units of X and 6 units of Y at equilibrium 1. Now, so consumer is in, I'm not showing the consumption of Y. You can see this is a consumption of Y, but my aim is to show when price of X is going to fall, what happens to the consumption of X? What will be the substitution effect of fall in price of X and the income effect of the fall in price of X? Now, you can see when price of X decreases, what happens to the budget line? So budget line will have pivotal shift. What it is? Pivotal shift. Rightward pivotal shift. Now budget line will make this type of shape. Now consumer will be having more income. His affordability due to fall in price has increased. Instead of these units of X, he can now afford more units of X due to fall in price of X. So budget line moves rightward, and it is the pivotal shift or rotational shift. Now finally consumer is approaching a higher indifference curve where he is making a tangency condition. I say this is E3. Remember, I will make E2 along previous indifference curve. So finally he is able to consume 8 units of X at new budget line due to fall in the price of X. Now, this is the total effect. How many units of consumption are increased by the consumer due to fall in price of X? They are the 5 units of X. How many units he has increased? Finally, the 5 units of X are increased by the consumer due to fall in the price of commodity X. Now see, this is the total effect of the fall in price. We will bifurcate or divide this total effect into 2 effects of substitution effect and income effect. So now, if we say the consumer has become better off in real terms, his real income is increased, if we take away increase in his real income, so if his real income is like 50% of price of X has gone down, it means 50% of his income in real terms has increased. If we take away this increase in the real income of consumer and we make sure that he consumes along his previous indifference curve at new prices. So in order to see the substitution effect, this new budget line will be shifting downward. Parallel downward shift will take place as we are taking away some of the income of the consumer. So the slope of budget line will not be changed. This budget line will shift downward and there will be a parallel shift. The new budget line will shift. So it is making a tangency condition at E2 now. So can I say there are the 5 units, we can say this is equilibrium E2 from E1 to E2. As consumer is increasing the buying of commodity X, Y is buying more. The reason behind is that the commodity X is relatively lower price than Y. So he is substituting Y good with X. So this substitution effect can be seen along his previous indifference curve, the movement along the previous indifference curve. That shows if he remains along his previous indifference curve at new price level, how many units of X he is going to increase and by decreasing the units of Y. So we say this movement from E1 to E2, that will show us the substitution effect of the fall in price of X. So when we say in order to see the substitution effect, this new budget line is shifted downward. That at new price level, how he is going to consume more of X and decreasing the consumption of Y, this will give us the substitution effect. The movement along the previous indifference curve from E1 to E2, that the 2 units he is going to increase, they are due to substitution effect. Okay. So when we have analyzed the substitution effect, now from E2 to E3, he is finally consuming at E3, not at E2. So from E2 to E3, the 3 units he is increasing, that is due to his income effect. Now he is buying more extra 3 units of X because of increase in his real income. When price of X decreases, his real income or real affordability that has increased. So from E2 to E3, how many units he is further increasing? They are 3X. So can I say total, there is a total effect of fall in price, that is 5X. Out of these 5, 2X are the substitution effect plus 3. 3X are the income effect. So both substitution effect is positive. What does it mean? Due to fall in price, he is increasing the substitution of commodity X and falling the commodity Y. So his consumption of X is increasing, therefore his substitution effect is positive. He is increasing the consumption of X due to falling price of X. So his income effect is also positive. Due to increase in his real income, he is buying more of this commodity X. His affordability in real terms that has increased. Therefore, he will buy some extra units due to increase in his real income. So that will be called the income effect. And when he stays along his previous indifference curve at new prices, he is increasing the consumption from E1 to E2. That is the substitution effect, and this is the income effect. So when both the effects, substitution and income effects, are positive due to fall in the price of a commodity, then we say this is a normal good, and its demand curve, the quantity of X and price of X, that is downward sloping. When price falls, he is increasing the consumption of X. So the demand curve of normal good is downward sloping, because when price of X falls, he is able to consume more of X and more of X due to 2 effects. due to substitution and income fact. When both substitution and income facts are positive, so the demand curve, if I draw the demand curve from my, can I use this one? Okay. Okay, we have this thing X and Y, and we said in our previous class how to derive the demand curve. Okay. This is E1, so this is indifference curve 2, this is it. So in the lower diagram, quantity of X and price of X, when price of X is this one, this is, okay, this point we have achieved, and this is E2. At price of X, like price is falling, so we will have another point. So if we join these 2 points, we get this demand curve, which is downward slope. So due to fall in the price of X, we have two things, that substitution effect and income effects. So when both effects are positive, we can say this is called a normal good. I will draw the diagram again to make you further clear about this concept. That was little bit blurred with you people. Okay, now we say this is now even a bigger diagram, bigger in size than the previous one. So we say consumer is in equilibrium before the price change. He is in equilibrium at E1. So when price goes down, his final consumption is moving to this area. This is E3. So if we want to see his substitution effect, this new budget line will shift downward, and keep it in mind, this is going to make a tangency condition not at the previous equilibrium. He's making at a new point, because now the gradient it is not changed from the new budget line. So this is the point where consumer is staying along his previous indifference curve due to substitution effect, that he is substituting Y with X. So how many units he has increased? This is called substitution effect. And from E2 to E3, this effect, this is called income effect. So both effects are reinforcing the consumer to increase the consumption of the commodity X because its price has gone down. So when both are reinforcing the consumer to increase the consumption due to fall in price, so we say this is a normal good, and both substitution and income effect of a normal good, they are positive. So I think this is enough for today, because if I draw the given good today, that will mix it up and you will be little bit confused about substitution and income effect of the two goods. So today I have completed the substitution and income effects of a normal good, and tomorrow in our next class I will be concluding all of the consumer behavior by drawing two diagrams of substitution and income effects of given good and inferior good. Then our lesson of consumer equilibrium, consumer behavior by using ordinal approach like budget line and difference curve, that will be concluded. And then we will be moving ahead towards the producer behavior. We will be having the individual study of producer behavior. How will he be able to maximize his profit? How he decides about the production level by using the inputs or factors of production, and then he will be producing the goods and services in the economy or in the market. So this is all about today. I'm not extending my lesson more than this of the normal good, and in the next class we will be doing the given good, inshallah. Thank you.